Scott Hamilton Kennedy, who is an award-winning director, producer, filmmaker. So I'm going to acquiesce the floor to him, and know that the biographies and all that other information will be in the PowerPoint that I will share with you at the break when we do the resource review. Thank you. Go ahead, Scott, and thanks for being here today.
I'm actually going to do a tiny introduction. Good morning, everyone. It's going to be a double introduction. My partner at Black Valley Films, Maureen Flanagan, is going to say a quick hello, and I'm going to come back. So I just kind of ruined my own introduction. So nice to be here. Here we go.
He does that all the time. Okay. Hi, everyone. Good morning. I'm Maureen Flanagan. I am the producer at Black Valley Films, a production company that helped make this film happen today. Scott is the founder of that company. He's a documentarian, and I'm so excited to be here. It's wonderful to have so many people online, streaming in, and in person. Before I bring up Scott, I'd like to start by thanking California Endowment for providing the space and supporting us. And thank you, Dr. Tracy Gill, for being so supportive and helpful and encouraging on so many levels. I'm sure if she's that way with everybody, the way she's been with us, I can only imagine. She is a force of nature. I'm excited to introduce our presentation for our Shot in the Arm from my partner at Black Valley Films, Academy Award nominee Scott Hamilton Kennedy. Scott will present for about 45 minutes, and then we hope you will stay for our panel discussion, panel of one, really. And with that, we will start with the first 5-minute opening of the film.
In 1918, my great-great-grandmother in Baltimore caught the Spanish flu, and she died. Baltimore did not impose a lot of public health measures. Life sort of just went on as normal. And growing up, I always thought, oh, people back then just weren't very smart. You know, why did they not take the Spanish flu more seriously? And I thought that until the year 2020, when I discovered that's just human nature.
Are we rolling?
Yes, we're rolling. A day that will go down in history.
Yeah, lockdown day 1, huh?
A pneumonia outbreak in
a
the central
SARS-like
city of
virus.
Japan, South Korea,
The numbers now
Thailand.
surging.
This is a new virus agent. We have absolutely no way of predicting.
Stay at home.
Stay at home.
Can you put your thumbs up if you can hear me okay, please? I did 38 plus 5, and I...
What's that from?
washing my hands too much.
From the beginning of COVID, our family struggled to make sense of what was going on.
We really have to implement aggressive social distancing.
Nobody is doing the risk assessment. How many deaths is the quarantine going to cause?
Who should we listen to? Who should we trust?
The mask, it's such an important tool, such a powerful tool.
Cloth face covering. I don't think I'm going to be doing it.
We are proceeding as if we will have to deploy a vaccine.
Dr. Fauci has charged us with an aspirational goal, a year to 18 months. It would be unprecedented, and we're all working day and night to make it happen.
Injecting people with RNA and Frankenstein viruses. We've never used these in human beings before.
It's okay to be skeptical. When you cross the line into cynical, that's when you lose me.
But the craziest thing is, a year before anyone had ever heard of COVID-19, I was asking these same questions of the same people, but with a different virus.
The country's worst measles outbreak in 25 years.
Nearly every corner of the world is losing ground in the fight against measles. The death toll in Samoa is continuing to mount.
Now, no one even remembers a measles outbreak.
Why is this happening?
because people are choosing not to vaccinate their children.
My oldest child, she was vaccine injured.
Vaccines cause disease.
We also have this rise in anti-science, and now for the first time, the World Health Organization has identified vaccine hesitancy as a major global health threat.
We thought we had eliminated measles in the year 2000, and now we had more than 1,200 measles cases. This is not something abstract. This is really affecting public health.
Cases growing so rapidly, there won't be enough beds in hospital ICUs.
We will see more cases. Bottom line, it's going to get worse.
We shouldn't presume that a group of experts somehow knows what's best for everyone.
Do your own research. Don't just take your doctor's word for it.
The public doesn't have the time to research what's correct and what's not correct.
Right. Yeah.
And they say, well, who knows? Just take a pick, flip a coin.
Finding the right path forward, the right people to trust, is almost as frightening as the problem itself.
Anybody who tells you, trust me on the science, you shouldn't trust them.
When you're in the middle of a crisis, it does shine a very bright light on some of the real weaknesses and foibles in our society.
So, thank you. You can probably imagine that over 3.5 years, we worked pretty hard to make this movie. Speaking to professionals like yourselves, absolutely do not feel sorry for us. And we were so happy and honored to say that the response to Shot in the Arm from the press and your hardworking colleagues has been humbling and inspiring. So again, that humility, that humble brag without the humble part, forgive me, it's gonna happen again. We come away with renewed admiration for the scientists who continue to tell the truth despite threats against them and their families. The film will provoke widespread admiration along with outbursts of anger from a stubborn anti-vax crowd. As a snapshot of how viral paranoia spreads in an age of alternative facts, Kennedy's politely furious polemic is urgent and timely. Shot in the Arm is the best vaccine yet produced for the virus of vaccine hesitancy, anti-vaccination, and science denial. It should be viewed by every member of Congress, every state governor, and every American. Scott's demasking of Robert Kennedy Jr. is a public service. This timely project will save lives in the United States and around the world. She's wonderful. You should follow her online. Not just because she complimented me. That sounded bad the way I put that. Amazing, amazing one. And finally, from Neil, our esteemed executive producer, Shot in the Arm is a vital rung in the ladder of science literacy that we all must ascend, lest civilization teeter on the brink of collapse from its absence. So, what's next for Shot in the Arm? And Maureen will come up and join me at the end to talk a little bit more about this, but we are doing a combination of an INTI and traditional distribution plan, where we're currently doing private events like this, screenings and talks. And at the same time, we're tracking for an awards qualifying theatrical run in the fall. I hope you guys will come out for that. We can collaborate on that. That'll be a lot of fun. And then we'll have a national PBS broadcast in early 2024, followed by continuing to expand our educational outreach across the country and the world, which is really the long throw as a parent, it's really the long throw of the film, right? We know how difficult it is to fight disinformation. The only proven way to fight it is education, right? Is education, God forbid, again, we use the word decency, that we have the humility to say, hey, just because I'm feeling it and it's in front of my face, doesn't mean it's the truth. And have communities, again, the social contract, to have communities around us, like, bless my wife, she's one of my BS detectors. If I'm drifting, she says, hey, you're drifting. So, in New York City, just amazing art. So, thank you for allowing me to present today, and I hope we can collaborate on where this film is going to go. We need the collaboration for many, many reasons. I'll tell you a slightly sad story about how far the vaccine hesitancy and confusion can go. The choir scene that you saw, where they were singing Space Oddity, we called it, Major Tom in the film, was I'm sorry to throw shade on these folks, but Silver Lake Conservatory of Music is a wonderful organization in Silver Lake, and my daughter obviously was part of it, and they did this wonderful recording. For a long time, they made it seem like it was not going to be a problem to have that wonderful scene in the film. And then somebody from the organization looked at it, I'll leave names out of it, and they said, oh, if it was up to me, I would say yes. But sadly, vaccines have become controversial and political. I said, I'm sorry, what's controversial? People have attempted to make them political. So I'm replacing that choir with, it's okay, it's going to be beautiful, it's almost already finished, with a wonderful choir from the West Side that is just as beautiful and just as great. And as serendipity would have it, two of the parents of these children were doctors working 18-hour days at Cedars-Sinai. So we found the right place, but it is how far this goes, right? That the people that you know and love can be taken aside with misinformation, disinformation. It's very sad. So I just want to share, these are just rough drafts of where we want to go with a poster design. Another one is we're maybe we'll get some pictures today. We've been taking pictures of lots of arms. Sorry for the low resolution, but to have a variety of arms. And we've changed the sort of the yin yang of our catchphrase that you see on the postcard: disinformation, its own disease. True. This is the counter of it. Healing is coming. So, yeah, just a great honor. Look forward to taking questions. So, thank you all.
Okay.
And that QR code, it might be fuzzy, but it does work. It goes to John, your movie account.
We'll include the QR code in the PowerPoint
Awesome.
afterwards.
Great.
So, and I want to give you a hug for all of your hard work and your emotional attachment to this.
We met in
Minnesota,
walking to a booze cruise. It's called a booze cruise. And
I don't drink.
And I got lucky enough to sit next to you, and I'm such an honor to meet you. Thank you.
Thank you. So it's been a ride with you and Maureen since the beginning of this. So thank you for doing this. It's funny where you make friends. So we're going to take a couple of questions. I already have a few from people, and there's a hand raised here. So I'll take this hand raised, and then I have a couple other questions. So let me move the mic around, and we'll repeat the question so you can hear it. Okay.
They can hear that mic too, though, right?
Hi, Scott. That was a good film.
Thank you very much.
My question has to do with...
Sorry, can you tell me your name and what you do?
I'm Dana. I'm in the life science industry on the business side. I've been around the industry for many years.
Thank you.
I studied the science on my own.
Yeah.
Anyway, in my opinion, we weren't ready for the COVID pandemic in many ways. Mm-hmm. In the future, do you think that we'll be better prepared for the next pandemic? Do you think we learned enough from this 3-year experience so that we're better prepared? That's question number one. The other question is, what should we do with the millions of people who remain unvaccinated for COVID when that can lead to the emergence of other variants that puts the rest of us at risk?
So thank you. Keep the microphone because I have to throw it back to you for a second. Because I need your answer too, my friend. It takes a village, right? I am clearly not a scientist. Well, maybe not clearly.
I'm not a scientist either, but
okay.
I have 2 MPs in my family.
Well, thank you. Thank you. What do you think how do you think we're gonna do next time?
I think it's going to take a lot of coordination from a lot of organizations, bureaucracies, and groups of people the next time it happens.
Yeah.
For example, in the hospitals weren't really ready for the emergency expansion of facilities in order for the beds and hallways, etc.
Doctors are out there banging, making tents.
The tents outside. Yeah. I mean, I think we learned from that, so the next time it happens, it's sort of like, a sort of a test run for how to handle the next one. So that's the answer to that first question.
Yeah, no, I hope so. So it is the question. Sadly, it's not going well, right? I'm sure you probably know that there are 30 states and growing that have passed laws to handcuff public health officials because of cynicism around saying what the back of that car said, right? Your freedom is not your health is not more important than my freedom. Dangerous, awful thing.
Well, what I would like to say about that is that in general, if people are concerned, as they said in the film, if people are concerned mainly with themselves and their immediate families, then we're not going to make it as a society.
That's the social contract, my friend.
Not just health-wise, but in general.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more. So the second part, in terms of getting more people vaccinated, we have been honored to see the film used on several levels, but used as a tool to have conversations with people who are vaccine hesitant. The good news, let's go to some good news, God forbid. I've been talking enough about bad news. The good and the bad news is if we look at the population, right, the fringes on the left, sadly, the fringes on the left and the right have come and joined each other, right? They're very small, right? Bigger on the Republican side, and we'll leave that to the side for a minute. But the most extreme passing this disinformation, if it's on January 6th or public health and other things, are small. They're very noisy, they're very effective, but there's a lot of people that obviously, like yourselves, I'm going to go here, that are doing the right thing every day to try and use good information and decency to make the best decisions. And then there's a lot of people that are hesitant, that are here, but they're not lost. They are decent people. I know you don't want to be decent people. They are decent people, and they want to have good information. And God forbid we have empathy for all of them. I'm ready for Robert Kennedy Jr. to come back any day. As some people call it, he's using his superpowers for evil. Please come back and use those superpowers for good. Go ahead.
What about trying to educate kids in elementary and high school about listening to trained physicians, MDs, and not listening to disinformation? I think if you get to kids when they're at a young age, not just with this issue, but things like anti-Semitism and other issues where there's disinformation about
Agreed. No, Neil deGrasse Tyson was the first to point out just that in science education. It isn't just science education in the science classroom. It's the scientific method taught again and again and again to say, this is how you use the system to make the best decisions possible. So I would love to partner with the California Endowment to bring that to schools across California. Is anybody in the room from the conference? Just kidding. We'll come back to that. Sorry. Please, another question.
Another question.
And if you don't mind, just telling us your name and what you do. Yeah.
Great film, thank you. My name is Selena Thomas. I'm actually with the Santa Clarita International Film Festival.
So which one?
I'm with the Santa Clarita International.
Oh, wonderful.
And
nice to meet you.
And our core values in our film festival are social issues. And so I certainly, on behalf of our festival, would love to see this film there.
Oh, well, it'd be an honor,
of
course.
There as a panelist, and continue to spread the word. We're essentially Hollywood North. We are tantamount to the Sundance, and so.
I'll make it easy for you. Watch this. Yes. Thank you. Please.
And my counterpart here is part of that, Sean.
Wonderful.
And so I made it a concerted effort to come at his invitation. And I'm so glad that I did. It was a great film.
Oh, thank
and
you.
It would be so important for not just our community to see that, but that level of our festival and the light that it's bringing to social issues is so important. So
thank you for what you do.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
While I get this other question, the question is, are you related to Robert Kennedy, since your name also is Kennedy? I got that from the chat and from an email.
Go ahead, guys. What do we think? Do we think we're related? Sadly, at some point, the Irish gene goes back there. Yeah, he is a little pink like me. No, we are not related to that Kennedy family line. And sadly, as you'll seeing the complete film, and many of you probably already know this, that many from his family have disowned him and begged him to stop doing this or not supporting his presidential run. But no, I can't believe he gave me the interview. I'm so grateful. I thought I was going to have to, cheat it in a way, not cheat it in any nefarious way, but like just get the interviews that you saw in other parts of it. That's just us showing up with a camera. Quick side story. There was a young man, 22 years old, in DC with me in his ear on earbuds, holding a microphone and another person shooting, and I'm talking to him and giving him questions to ask Robert Kennedy Jr. This young man held it down. It was amazing. Sorry, you'll see that in film. So, no relation. Thank goodness. Sorry, there's amazing people in that family. I'm not throwing them all under the bus at all. Amazing. What's the next question?
Good morning. I'm Dr. Paula Miller with LA County Department of Public Health.
Hello.
And I work specifically for the Acute Communicable Disease Control Program.
Thank you.
My position is health educator, but I'm primarily working full-time with investigations of medical cases. My question is actually twofold. First, I want to thank everybody in public health and specifically my department, Acute Communicable Disease Control, because they were just totally amazing to bring all the pods together so everybody in LA County could get vaccinated quite simplistically. So they did an outstanding job, and I was in the department to see some of the amazing work they did. And they were really the foundation and core group to make all these things come forward.
Hear, hear.
That's the first statement. The second statement I have to say, as far as getting the word out to the non-vaccinators, is that I believe it's through partnering with some of our religious leaders. For example, the churches, the synagogues, the temples, the mosques, etc. Because there is a religion such as in the film, there is discussion of the Orthodox Jewish community, and these people, whether they are for or not for the vaccines, would go to their religious leader, which would be their rabbi. And those are the people that the county and others can work through to bring to their membership. And I think that's a group that should be involved more so than previous. And I think that would really contribute to more people willingness to get the vaccines.
Love that. And any tips for, we've scratched the surface of that community, and it is incredibly important. So any tips towards that here, Los Angeles County and around the world, wonderful. Thank you.
And here's another question for you that came from email.
Okay.
They want to know, why did you specifically choose immunizations like measles and things like that? Why would you do that?
Sexy? Little joke, everybody. Sorry. No, I didn't choose measles. Measles chose me. So there's a little backstory to that too. Wonderful organization, the Berkeley Wellness Letters. Anybody know the Berkeley Wellness Letter? Nobody? Okay. Tiny. But Berkeley Wellness Letter out of UC Berkeley, run by my family pediatrician when I was from 4 to 16, John Schwartzberg, and it does what, as a parent, I love science and doctors to do. They read the studies and they vet them and they give us the information. They don't judge. They try and give the best information, from sunblock to vaccines, anything. He was in my previous film, Food Evolution, which I'd love you all to see in it. There's a connection. It was a reset of the conversation on GMOs. There's a lot of overlap between anti-GMOers and anti-vaxxers. So cut to, when was it? It was like late 2018, and I'm on the phone with John. He says, Scott, what's your next film? Because you have to take on these anti-vaxxers. In my wisdom, I said, no, they're going to go away. I was wrong. So cut to only a few months later, record-breaking measles outbreak, state of emergency in New York City, state of emergency in Washington State, measles outbreaks around the world. I'm like, what is going on? So I picked up the camera and we started, and thought we had a solid, interesting, heartbreaking, fascinating film just in that. And then COVID happened, and clearly it went to this other place. So that's how it started.
Any other questions in the room for Scott? Oh, there's one over there.
before I go to the text messages and emails, my esteemed colleague.
Hi, Scott. Thank you. My name is Jason. I work at the LA County Department of Public Health.
Yeah.
So I think what the elements of your film showcase is that there's an imbalance in the communication ability. And I know that locally, Dr. Ferrer said this. Nationally, Dr. Walensky has said this. I think the advocacy side is really being outpaced by the anti-side. Like our speakers, Dr. Hotez, they can't stand next to an Alex Jones or a Donald Trump or a Bobby Kennedy Jr. Dynamically, the speech, it's an uphill battle, of course.
Yeah.
But to have someone who's a dynamic speaker, who's relatable, who can synthesize all these studies and speak to the layperson, I mean, we're just getting drowned. So does that personality exist?
Well, you're one. Seriously. So no, it's an excellent, important question. And it is, I love expertise, right? Isn't that a nice thing to hear? I love expertise, right? Different people are experts in this room. I love my plumber. He's an expert at plumbing. I don't know how to fix my toilet. And I'm grateful when he comes or she comes and they fix it, right? We're living in a time where cynicism is winning out over skepticism. Forgive me for the sidebar, I'm gonna come back. And the cynicism is saying that, oh, don't trust anybody. It's all fixed, right? It's poison, it is toxic. So back to your question, you're correct in the fact that there are experts in communication, in entertainment. You know, Del Bigtree is just a used car salesman, right? Just a blown up used car salesman. And who have these amazing skills at communication and manipulation. And then you have experts in public health and in science who weren't trained to be that kind of an expert. Some of them are very good at it, right? Many of them are very good at it, but they weren't necessarily trained in it. So now I hope I've come to be a minor expert at storytelling and communication. So I pick up that banner, right? And I try to run with it a little bit and say, this is what I can add to the conversation. But to flip it back again on a positive note, all of them are good communicators because you have the expertise, you have the knowledge of what you do, the love of what you do, the stories, very important. Tell the stories of what you do because that's going to connect with people and talk. Sitting next to somebody on a plane at Thanksgiving dinner, talk and communicate and continue to build that out. So we must support the ones who are superstars. Neil deGrasse Tyson obviously is an incredible communicator, and we're so honored to have him as part of this film. So it's twofold. Let's continue to shine a light on the ones who are good at it. Our current Surgeon General, I found that paper that he did on social networking and community absolutely inspiring, and he's a wonderful communicator. His wife is an excellent communicator. So on and on. But then remember, on the smaller note, social media, use your voice to communicate like that. So it's a process. It's not an easy answer, but let's continue. As a young man who saw a rough cut of the film, he said, "Oh, it's being sold really, really well, and the big truth is kind of cruising along, and it's awful. It's so many layers to this. The manipulation of the truth is awful. Underneath it is this little minor campaign I want to do with Bobby Kennedy Jr. and those folks. I go, show me your medicine cabinet. Show me your pharmacy records for the past 10 years, right? Because you take a big old flying crap with no nuance on big pharma. So you're going to tell me you have zero big pharma in your life? Impossible. Del Bigtree, Robert Kennedy Jr., Joe Rogan, all of them. They use these things so they get to cherry pick when they want to say, see, I'm pointing out that those people are awful. Don't point out that I'm a hypocrite and I'm using it too, right? I came to coin the phrase, have their kale and eat it too, right? That because they're so privileged, right? All of them, so privileged. So let's call them out on those hypocrisies, right? Go, okay, you want to be transparent? show us your medicine cabinet. So little pieces like that. We have to get just as clever and ruthless, but not change our core, right? We don't have to change our core of not being liars, of trying to do the best for the most people. We don't have to change that. We can do these things and still remain decent. I fail at it all the time. I'm Irish, I can get hot, but we try. Yeah.
Okay, I think that's all the questions in the room. Time for one more. There's one. Any closing remarks? I will say something that you won't say, which is to see Robert F. Kennedy Jr. get $7 million in a year, 1 year alone, just for doing all this anti-vax stuff. It's very disheartening. So that was just the first year before the pandemic went strong. Now he's tripling and doubling that as he gets ready to run for the president of the United States. So I just find it fascinating. And all my friends in other countries are kind of scratching their head about us right now. So I hope somebody can help combat some of this, like you all are doing and like the Vaccinate Watts team is doing. So thank you for taking the time.
Sure.
I know how busy you are.
Oh, it's an honor to be here. You will always have my time. Always. Thank you so much.
From a riverboat ride.
I'll finish with this. Just an amazing honor to be here, and to let you know that some of the events that how we've used the film is we've shown it to public health organizations, if it's hospitals, if it's nurse organizations, where they've seen people possibly leave the industry, right, because of burnout, and they use the film as a piece of inspiration to say, hey, it was worth it, right? So that's one way we've used the film. We've used the film at obviously at public health universities to inspire the next generation of people that might be scared to go into it because of the slings and arrows. So there's a variety of ways we can use the film, and we sure would be honored for all of you to not just do introductions to how we can continue to show the film. Obviously, we need that, but ideas of, hey, I think there's this this problem that the film could help fix. That's what we're here for. So just a great honor. Thank you. My door is open forever, and I truly mean that. Not just for the film. If you see me send a tweet, I need to get better at social media. You see me send a tweet and I got it wrong, that door's open to say, hey Scott, you got this little piece wrong, or the tone could have been better. So the opposite of wanting yes people around me. I want smart people around me to help me communicate as well as possible, because it's hard. So thank you.
We do have a gift for you, but there's one more text message I got.
Oh, go ahead, hit me.
As far as the link, what can we provide? We're going to give a 10-minute break, but what can we provide to the folks on the phone in the
Great. So shotinthearmmovie.com is the easiest place to go, and you can sign up for our Substack. You can email us. You can sign up to set a screening for your community. You can email us, and I'll give you Maureen's email as well. It is Maureen, Maureen, at blackvalleyfilms.com, Maureen at BlackValleyFilms.com. Just so you know, that's the Black Valley in the southwest corner of Ireland, where I got married and fell in love and then got married. Get it right. So wonderful. Thank you all so much. Thank you.
And here's your gift. I know Dr. Offit, so a book for you that you can get autographed, or you can autograph it for you. And then there's a bag of goodies from Maroon and the Black Valley Film team. So thank you very much. With that, let me give you a hug. And we'll take a 10-minute break. We will be back. And
on the call, just a couple of things. We wanted to make sure that the folks on the call had an opportunity for the photo booth. So our great partners, parties out of sight, photos that have a frame around them like the one on the screen. So for those of you who are on the call, I will send this out, but you have 24 hours to get this done if you want to have this photo booth opportunity that we have in the room. And it's totally free, and they text you right back with your photo in the frame. So it's a nice memory for this particular event. The other thing I wanted to do is just acknowledge a lot of folks who helped pull this off. We have people from the California California endowment. We have parties out of sight that donated a significant portion of their time and resources to do the photo booth on the grand scale like they do in Hollywood. So we have a red carpet in the room. And then we have a webmaster who does a lot of our work for ICLAC, the Immunization Coalition of LA. And then there's Carrie, who's our chair. And then the steering committee team, you can raise your hand on the call, and the folks who are in the room, they do a lot of work giving me advisement about what I can and can't do, but they also help me get funding and volunteers and resources to help with this. The other couple of folks that help was Melanie Barner. Barr is the director of the vaccine nurses team, so she's somewhere around here in her jumpsuit. There she is. And then there's Taryn and Victoria, who both help set up this room and do a lot of other stuff. So thank you for that. And then the other folks, the filmmakers and their team, Scott and Maureen have just left. They have another appointment, but they also did a lot of gratis for this particular event. And then the Vaccinate Watts, Everyone Can Eat team that's coming up next. I met both Sean and Michael at the peak of the pandemic, and they helped me do a lot of things with churches, believe it or not. So that's how I know those two. And then Dr. Abraham, who was my part week with me, and I could call him any time of the day or night to get the vaccines done. And then there's faith-based teams that helped us get things done. So thanks to them. And then last but not least, LA County Public Health, the California Community Foundation is actually funding all your nice refreshments and everything else. And then a lot of people got the word out. That's why we have so many people in listening parties on the call, the immunization app, and then all the participants who took time out of their busy day to come and get this done today. So the other thing I wanted to just make sure people are aware of, I get a lot of questions. The security guard is asking me, what is ICLAC and what should I know? So I want to make sure that, and a special thanks to all of those like Wendy Berger, who stayed around for decades running this organization and supporting it. So there's a legacy of people who got it to the 25th year, and we went dark during the pandemic, but we came back strong. So a couple of things about the Immunization Coalition. We are in Los Angeles County, which has 10 million residents. A lot of people vaccinated does take magic. So the collaborations that we do with all types of organizations and teams is really for all people, kids, adults, pregnant women, to get the immunizations they need. And we really focus on those who are vulnerable and underserved, which is why today was so important, because those are communities that really are mostly influenced. The most influential thing for them is the disinformation and misinformation, so it's rather scary. The other thing is we have a lot of different partnerships. We have pharmaceuticals, we have health plans, we have hospitals, schools, universities. We have individuals who sign up to be partners, and it's all free to join. So we really appreciate that. The other thing is we have a newsletter that was going out weekly that will change to monthly, that has everything from grant resources to webinars, and also we'll be promoting, I think USC has public health staff, or not staff, public health students that are going to be available to do projects for folks. So I will be promoting that in the next newsletter. And the other thing is some of the organizations have told me they were able to get grants and other resources because they paid attention. So with that, other than if you don't get your picture today, I'm going to send this out, so you'll be able to get it done. So I'm going to turn this over shortly to the Vaccinate Watts team. But before I do that, there's a couple other things I wanted to share with you. So hold on one second while we get to it. The other thing, after we do this, there's a panel for the Vaccinate Watts team as well. So a couple of things on the agenda, and then we'll close out. And there is a bio in here about Scott, so I put that in there. The other thing that's in here is there are some links, and there will be more once we send this out, to some misinformation and disinformation resources that might be of use to you. So there's a QR code and some links, and there's going to be more once we post this out today. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to the Vaccinate Watts team, and I have a lot of information on the slide, which you don't need to read now, about the team that created Vaccinate Watts, two people in particular that I've been in touch with since the pandemic started. So I'm going to turn this over to Sean and get out of his way, and Michael Green, who were very helpful, like I said, with me in doing churches and videos and things. So go ahead.
There we go.
All right. I always say I'm really just in awe of doctors and healthcare providers like Dr. Veal, Dr. Abraham, and everybody that works so hard to bring vaccines to members of our community. This film, I mean, the only way I can describe it, because I was a filmmaker, but was always doing more traditional production, and this was just such a horrible circumstance that like our whole world got thrown into. And very early on in the pandemic, when we were all still locked down, Michael and I got invited to be a part of essentially a think tank that was organized by the SECTSI, who were really the main people that sponsored the work that we wound up getting the opportunity to do. And the easiest way to describe it is just we had the opportunity of being kind of a bug on the wall to see how healthcare providers go about their jobs trying to reach members of the community. And as we all know, it's easier said than done. I'm very lucky that I'm married to a physician myself, and I see how hard it is for her to try and get across, her message. And I always kind of look at it as sometimes you got to take what's in New England Medical Journal and bring it down to USA Today. And what we were really trying to do was just reach as many people as we could, utilizing the resources and access to doctors and healthcare providers that we did. We found, early on, and it's like you see, like before they do get out of here, can I get one more round of applause for Scott and Maureen, who really did a fantastic. We only got to see bits and pieces of it, but I hadn't really put it together myself that the measles was really the prequel for this whole thing, and I was really blown away by that, and just the job, like, and even your wife as an educator, and seeing it from that perspective, we hadn't really had an opportunity to, and it's super important to bring it down in a way where you can humanize the people that are involved in this as a way of just educating the masses. So ours, when we did this, it started out where we were interviewing people and coming up with short 1-minute clips that people could see, they could easily digest, with the goal of influencing them to make the decision to get their vaccination. And we wound up getting to talk to so many amazing people in this city that we wound up release. I think it was like 35 of these little share your why segments that the CTSI put out, and they did such a fantastic job. And we went from that, and we started doing bilingual ones and really got creative with the way we were going about it. But beyond that, we also started doing some PSAs, and part of our background as filmmakers is just employing some of the tactics that you do in the regular entertainment industry. We did a PSA called "We Can Stop This," and we call people that had basically experienced the ultimate loss of, they had a family member that died of COVID, and we wanted to talk to them about what life was like now. I mean, it was heart-wrenching stuff to do, but we sent out a casting breakdown out to the city and had people submit like you would, going for, but we wanted to get real people, and we paid them to participate. That way we could incentivize, I mean, as you should, but we wound up getting some really amazing perspectives that are heartbreaking, but like we were able to utilize them in a way to influence more people to make a decision to get their shots. And so this film wound up being kind of a compilation of all of that work, which it was going several different ways, but we were able to put it together into a short film, and we're excited to share it with you now.
I was raised here in Nickerson Garden over 50-something years, grew up in this community, work at the rec center with the young people, sports and stuff like that. This stuff is for real. It's hitting home. You know, I lost co-workers. Worked with this kid, man. He was 37 years old, two beautiful babies. We used to go to the Dodgers game and everything. But when he got it, he didn't last a week.
My entire family had COVID-19. It literally started with my aunt, and it just spread like wildfire. And we didn't know what it was. We're like, this is a really bad flu. And it was all classified as a respiratory disease at the time because the healthcare providers didn't know what it was. So that was quite scary for my family.
A Washington state resident fell ill after returning from Wuhan, China, where the outbreak began. Officials now say more than 400 people have been sickened and 9 people have died.
Fast-moving developments in the coronavirus emergency here in Southern California as the World Health Organization officially declares the outbreak a pandemic. The first COVID-19 death just reported today in LA County.
We asked you all here this morning for a very important announcement about Los Angeles County's response to the novel coronavirus.
Now that there is an order out there, now that we're being told to do it, it does feel different. That is the 101 freeway in Los Angeles, which normally at this time of day is a parking lot.
Now, LA County today reached a grim milestone. The death toll now stands at 4,300, with 44 new deaths revealed today.
The number of deaths here in the United States has just crossed 100,000.
Of those youth who have died in the United States from COVID-19, 83% are minority.
Yeah, and to that point, Greg, and just even within the last couple of minutes of us speaking to each other, the United States now has passed 206,000 coronavirus deaths, a very sad and grim milestone, I should note.
Yeah, when the COVID hit, at first I didn't think much of it, but when I got to watching the news and seeing, I said we could be in big trouble up at Nickerson. Because a lot of people didn't have Medicare, Medicaid, or nothing like that.
The pivoting in Los Angeles for dealing with the coronavirus, you know, that was real. Our patients were disproportionately affected. We knew that we were in a big city. We were watching what was happening in New York and very concerned that that could be our reality as well. I was on the front lines basically performing emergency surgical airways. So if they were going to be on a ventilator for a long period of time, we were being asked to put a breathing tube into their neck to help them be able to progress with their care. And that was considered one of the most dangerous things that anybody could do. We face infectious diseases forever, and that's part of our medical training. So just knowing that you're walking in there with a patient who's very, very sick, you know, that's concerning and unnerving for yourself. You also worry about that patient. You know, you might be the last face that they're gonna see. Some of these people did succumb to their illness despite, you know, everyone's best efforts, and that's always really hard, especially as a healthcare provider where you're really trying to do your best.
For the first time, the U.S. surpassing 100,000 new COVID cases in a single day. According to the Washington Post, 17 states reporting record numbers of hospitalizations.
My wife ended up being hospitalized with COVID. That took a big hit on our family. We had to really, you know, work hard to make sure that the kids were mentally and emotionally grounded and safe, knowing that mom was sick.
My dad was a Marine, and he lived his life like a Marine. And the hardest decision I had to make was when they said, well, you can come and see him in his last moments, you'll have to put on a suit and all this other stuff. I don't know that it's appropriate to put my mom, my brother, and myself at risk for those last few moments. I often think about that decision, but I have to live with it.
She was a mother in our church. She was a PTA president when I was in elementary school. She was a surrogate mother. She got sick and went into the hospital. And while she was in the hospital, caught COVID. We're still trying to find our balance and not necessarily understand the why, but appreciate what we had and what she left us.
One of my old colleagues passed away from COVID, which, you know, really broke my heart because, like, man, you made it a whole year and a half and then this. But, you know, I would say COVID is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. It has definitely changed the trajectory in which we operate and we move, but it's here.
And so I went to visit him, and they said that his lungs collapsed and he had pneumonia, and also that he had COVID. When I saw him dying, like literally, like that shortness of breath, and him like him wanting to live, him crying, telling me that I want to live, I want to live. But then 4 days later, he was dead.
The coronavirus is rampaging through the country. For the first time yesterday, U.S. officials recorded more than 4,000 COVID deaths in a day. More than 11,700 people have now died in just the past 3 days. And 583 people died in California alone yesterday.
On January the 10th, my brother gave me a call and said that he wasn't feeling too well. He had been really trying to find a place to get the vaccine because it was before the vaccine was readily available to everyone. And he was having a really difficult time trying to schedule it. January the 19th, he called me and said that he was in the hospital. He said more than that he was about to be intubated. And I said, wow, I just talked to you like a week ago, like in a few days. But because my brother's 30 years old, I'm from a family of 7. We were all very hopeful that my brother was going to make it because we thought that he's young. He's 30 years old, he's gonna come through this. On the 6th of February, they called me to let me know that my brother didn't make it through the night.
I had no symptoms whatsoever. And I just remember, calling my family and tell them, they told me that they need to place me on a ventilator because I have pneumonia and I was retaining the carbon dioxide.